So when I first got the HRV, I did a video about 2 years ago about how I got 500 miles. And I've been reading some of the comments. As a matter of fact, I got a comment yesterday and it was saying that, you know, it didn't sound like I could get that much mileage basically. So in this video, I'm going to go over some stuff that prove that you can actually get more than the EPA rating on your car. And it's all based on your driving habits. So when I first got my HRV, I'm not gonna lie, I used to drive with the flow. That's what I call it, because everybody flies down the road and the highway. Nobody really drive the speed limit, and that's fine. You know, like I said, it's that drive with the flow. Some people say they drive 5 miles over the limit. Some people drive 10. I've seen some people drive at least 25 miles over the speed limit. That's fine and dandy. I was in that kind of flow too. You know, I was doing the exact same thing, just going with the flow of traffic. Then one day I started doing a test. It became a test for me itself. I was trying to see what my mileage would be if I was driving the speed limit. You know, none of that shotgun takeoff, none of that hard braking, just driving normal, decent, and no weird driving, if you know what I mean. So I filled up my tank. And I drove the car and I actually got 400 and some miles the first time. And that was a combination of city and highway. So later on, I went on my very first trip with the HRV. I drove from St. Louis to Illinois. And all through that trip, it's a very long trip. And sometimes I used to just speed through it, just try to make up time. But then I realized there were slow spots and I really didn't make up time because it seemed like it took the same amount of time because I had to stop at least 2 times to gas up. And every time you stop, you always add time because you want to use the bathroom, you want to get some snack, or you want to stop to eat. It always adds time. No matter how fast you go, I realized I was just defeating the purpose. So on this trip, I decided that I'm going to drive the speed limit. It was kind of tough because it seemed like you're going slower, even though the speed limit says 65 and you're driving 65. To you, it feels kind of slow. So you're trying to slow your body down to keep up with the speed while everybody's just flying by you. So driving the speed limit seems odd to certain people on the road because everybody drive at least 5 miles over the speed limit. But for me, like I said, you know what? I'm going to drive the speed limit no matter what. And there was some speed limit that would seem like it was extremely slow, like 35. But I had to force myself to do it because I wanted to see what this car capability could be if I drive the speed limit. Keep that ring on green because the HRV has a ring that tells you if you're driving efficiently or not. If it turns any other color besides green, then you already know, if you own an HRV, that you're not driving efficiently. So during the trip, I tried to keep the ring as green as possible based on road condition. Because I was going up incline, I was going down decline. So one of the comments saying that I must have been driving downhill all the way. That can't be possible because in order to go downhill, you have to go uphill. It's physics. So there's no way to go downhill only without actually going uphill first. But I'm not trying to pick on anybody to leave a comment. I would like to hear your opinion because everybody has their own opinion. But in this video, I'm just going to show the facts that it's not 300 miles in the HRV. You can actually get more than that 300 miles. So I'm about to do some math to show you that the EPA rating on the car is much higher than 300. And that's filling up the tank all the way. So first off, let's start off with the EPA specs of the car. So the HRV is rated at 28 city, 34 highway, and 30 combined. And that's with a 13.2 fuel tank. So based on the EPA rating, and that 13.2 fuel tank. City, which is rated at 28 miles per gallon, times the 13.2 should add up to 369.6. That's how much range of driving you should get if you do city only. If you do a highway only, you should get 34 miles per gallon times that 13.2. You should equal out to 448.8. If you do a combination of city and highway driving, you should get 30 miles per gallon times the 13.2, which should equal out to 396 miles. So any way you look at it, you're going to get over 300 miles based on the EPA rating. Now, if you can't get those numbers, The only reason why is based on your driving habits. Now I know these numbers are estimated and it's all about your driving condition, weather, all that stuff, how your car is maintained. But you should come in at least close proximity to those numbers. If you're not, then you got to check your driving condition. So now let's list some of the things that can cause you not to get those kind of range. And this information is coming from the fueleconomy.gov. First off, aggressive driving. If you're a speeder or people that like to take off as soon as light change or do hard braking, all of those can decrease your fuel economy between 15 and 30% by just driving that way. And that's on the highway. It could be from 10 to 40% during the city. You know, my grandmother always say haste make waste. I didn't understand it when I was a child, but now I do. Now, one thing I did when I changed my driving habits, and I did this personally, is to observe the speed limit. And I noticed I was going to the gas station less because I was going to the gas station once a week. Now I'm going to the gas station anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks on a full tank. And that's because I observed the speed limit. I don't care if it says 35, I am driving 35. Now I might go 1 or 2 miles over, but I'm not driving 5 or 10 miles over that speed limit. So according to the fueleconomy.gov, every time you drive 5 miles over the speed limit, you are actually spending an extra 20 cents at the pump. So that's the reason why I drive the speed limit, because I'm trying to keep the money in my pocket and not give it to the pump. Now, some people take trips out of town and you gotta haul some stuff. You know, you gotta take your luggage and all that, that's fine. But if you're taking a lot of stuff in your car, like a lot of junk and a lot of stuff in the trunk that really don't need to be there, then you don't realize how much of the fuel you're wasting too just hauling that stuff around, because more weight equal more fuel burn. And that's why cars today are more lightweight. You know, back in the day it was hard steel, but they're not making them out of hard steel anymore, because now you're getting more fuel economy out of your car because it's lighter. But if you add all this extra weight from stuff you got stored in your trunk or your back seat, then you're actually reducing your fuel economy that way too. So according to the fueleconomy.gov on this topic, they say every 100 pounds extra that you have in your car is an extra 1% of gas that you're wasting. Now that 1% adds up to only 3 cents, but 3 cents adds up, and that's how much extra you're paying at the pump. So those are some of the things that I just wanted to highlight. There's more on this. I'm gonna put the link in the description so you can read these things for yourself if you're interested in getting more mileage out of your vehicle. Now, these are the things that, like I said, I did. So when I said I got 500 miles out of my HRV, that wasn't something I was making up. I'm still getting up to this day over 400 miles. Sometimes it's 460, sometimes it's 470. But it's all based on the driving condition. And I live in the Midwest, so therefore it's not flat like Florida. Florida is all flat, so there's no hills to go up and down. But where I live, you're going up and you're going down. There's many roads like that. But I don't try to force the car up the hill. I try to keep it in that 2000 RPM range. And yeah, I might be crawling up the hill, but you know what? I'm trying to save fuel. I'm trying to get the maximum range out of my car. I'm trying to keep money in my pocket. And that's the reason why I did it. So I'm not trying to bash anybody in this video. I'm not trying to prove anything. I'm just trying to show the facts that it's possible to get more out of your car, and not just a Honda HRV. You can get it out of any car. It's all based on driving condition. So here's my challenge to you, and this goes for anybody, not just people who drive the HRV. Fill your car up, try to drive the speed limit, cut out all that aggressive driving, and let me know if your mileage haven't increased. Now let me show you something. On the 17th of September, I filled up, and this is the total range that the car said I would get based on my driving condition. Now on the 25th of September 2018, this is what I have so far. So we're already well past 1 week, and I already did this much miles, over 200 miles as you can see, and I still have 200 more miles of range left. And this is mostly city driving. I think I've drove on the highway for the last 10 days maybe one time, and that was probably about maybe 10 miles. But it's all based on my driving habits. No shotgun takeoff, no hard braking, obeying the speed limit. And that's how I was able to achieve these high mileage. So I want to thank everybody that commented on that video where I did 500 miles in the HRV. I value your opinion and I appreciate you saying what you said, because I know it seems far-fetched, but trust me, I did it, and up to this day I'm still getting well over 400 miles in my car. So if you want to take up my challenge, I would love to hear your result in the comments. And if you want to share what you're getting in your vehicle right now, go ahead and leave that in the comment also. Now, like I said, all of this is based on EPA rating. If the EPA rating say you can get 370, doesn't mean that you can't get more. And it doesn't mean that you can't get less also. But this is all based on your driving habits, how you maintain your car, and then it's also based on where you live. If you live in a place where there's a lot of inclines, yes, it's going to hard to get a lot of mileage because you have to push the car up the hill basically. So therefore you have to give it a little bit more gas. So I understand. If you're really interested in getting a little bit more mileage range out of your car and saving some money also, check out that fueleconomy.gov. I will put the link in the description for you to check out. Okay, so that's going to be it for this video. Thanks for taking the time for watching it. Share it, like it, and I'll see you next time.